So when I first arrived, I'm in inner city Dublin, and I can hardly understand the English that they're speaking to me. I know it's English, theoretically, I know in my head that that's what they're saying to me, but I can't understand a word. And it didn't help that my companion was a Geordie. Geordie is from Newcastle upon Tyne. It's in England, northeastern England, and that accent is a mix of English, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, and a few other things. I don't know what but he was difficult to understand as well, and so I just felt lost the first 2 weeks. But it's not like learning a new language; it was still English, and so within a couple weeks you get used to it, and it was interesting actually when I moved to my next area, which was in Galway on the west coast of Ireland in the Republic. It had a very different accent that I had to readjust to. And again, it was about 2 week learning curve, and I finally got it. And then I heard someone speak from Northern Ireland, and I thought they were American because I could understand them so clearly. That the difference there, between Northern Ireland and the Republic, well, I had just gotten so used to the Belfast accent that I mistook it for an American. So first time there, let's see. Well, it rains. I'm from Arizona. That was a bit different for me. We just hit the ground running. It was really exciting. My first day there, we dropped off my bags, and then we went to an appointment instantly, and so that's just kind of how the rest of the mission was. Is we were just always going, and that's really exciting.
Well, on your first day in the Scotland-Ireland mission, you arrive at the mission home in Edinburgh, and you meet the mission president, who my mission president came in at the exact same time as me, so he was brand new as well, President Brown. And we got to fulfill our mission tradition. We go to a place called Arthur's Seat, which is in the center of Edinburgh. But we call it Pratt's Hill. That's our name for it, because when Orson Pratt came over to the UK in the early days of the church, he hiked up this hill and dedicated Scotland for the preaching of the gospel. And so in similitude to that, all of us on our first days get to hike up Arthur's Seat and pray and dedicate our 2 years to the Lord. And that was really special for me because it's beautiful. You can oversee the entirety of the city of Edinburgh and just look at the people that you'll be teaching and communicate with the Lord. So that was really nice. And then we came home and were assigned our trainers, and I was really excited about that. And my first area was Dublin. It was an area on the west side of Dublin called Clonsilla. And it takes a long time to get there. We have a really big mission, so the next day after hiking up Arthur's Seat and being assigned your trainer was all travel. We took buses over to Glasgow and then down to the ferry, where you ferry over to Belfast in Northern Ireland. Then we took another bus down to Dublin. And, from there, I just, you walked in, I was with my trainer, just like, I'm really here, I'm really doing it. And I love the travel, obviously because Scotland and Ireland are, beautiful places. So I just got to know my trainer okay on, that first day. We just got to talk with all the other elders and sisters that were traveling with me. So that was good. Your first week doing missionary work there, you're waking up early every day and you might not be used to it. So it's just, you fill every hour, and that's the great thing. You're trying to do as much as you can every day. You don't kill any time. And so it took me time to get used to that. And that first week, it was really trying to get acclimated. I remember we were challenged by the assistants to invite someone to be baptized in the first 3 days that we were there. And so that first time I was really excited. I was ready to invite someone to follow the example of Christ. And I remember we did it at a door approach. My time limit was coming to a close, and we went and knocked on some doors, and a man answered, and we had a short conversation with him, and I just sort of blurted it out. I said, well, would you want to be baptized? Would you want to follow the example of Christ and be baptized? And he quickly shot me down from there, but nonetheless, I felt great about the invitation. It was good. I was happy to do it.
So we left the MTC. We got on a bus and drove up to the mission home, which is in Edinburgh in Scotland. So we got there, and you have like the big meeting with all the trainers and mission president and everything. And then I got assigned my companion. And then my first area was in Ireland. And so we stayed the night and then took a ferry the next morning over to our area. But I do remember that first night, just, the excitement of, knowing who your companion was and where your area was going to be and whatnot. But I think probably my favorite memory of that first night anyway was a less active member called my companion, and he was like, oh yeah, I just got my new companion, here, talk to him. And so I took the phone, like, hello? And she starts talking, and it's supposed to be English speaking, but she had a pretty thick accent. And so I just remember thinking I don't know what she's saying to me. I remember she asked my name, so I answered that part, and then I kind of was like, yeah, and just kind of very tentative, because I really couldn't understand very much. And so I just remember getting off the phone, and my companion was like, so what'd she need? And I was like, I don't know. She asked my name. I don't know what happened after that. So that was crazy. Just the accent was a lot more different than I'd anticipated. I'd expected to be able to pick it up pretty easy or understand it, but some people were a lot harder to understand, especially over the phone, just with the interference or whatnot that you normally get. Then you throw in an Irish accent, and it can be difficult at first. So that was really cool. And then, the ferry ride over was fun, and we finally got to our area. And in our mission, we always had a challenge to offer a baptismal invitation before Sunday. And so we got to our area on a Thursday, because Wednesday was transfer day. And I remember we went to this investigator's house. I think it was on a Saturday. And I just remember we were sitting there, and my companion kept setting it up and would look at me. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. And then I finally invite him to be baptized, and he didn't accept at that time, but it was a really nerve-wracking experience, actually. I didn't anticipate it to be quite that hard, but it felt really good afterward, and it made it a lot easier after you do it, the first time, and you start getting into the swing of things, and you're like, okay, I can do it, it's all right. So that was a lot of fun. I also just remember, just teaching and explaining things to people, and kind of the transition from talking to people who've been members their whole life to people who didn't understand the church at all, and just how simple you had to make things for them. You had to become a lot better at explaining things and making sure you didn't throw around Mormon slang, because they would just be like, what is that? So that was kind of an eye-opener as to just how little people actually knew about Christianity in general, even for a country that is predominantly Christian or Catholic. So these people, you would think, are, they always say they go to church or whatever, but a lot of them had a very limited understanding of what it was actually all about. Very few had actually really heard about the Church of Jesus Christ. So I just remember being shocked, especially being from Utah, where it's everybody's a Mormon, everybody knows this. But so that was interesting to see, especially in that first week, just getting used to not everybody knows what a Mormon is and what the Church of Jesus Christ is about and stuff like that.
By that point in time, I was at the Preston MTC, and I was just excited to get out. The Preston MTC did for a little time. They did a program where I guess missionaries would get to go out street contacting or get to go out knocking doors. And so I'd had a little taste of it in my mouth, and I was just excited to get out the door. So my first day was spent mostly traveling, because we took a train up from Preston into Edinburgh. And then I took a bus over to Glasgow, and then I ended up taking a ferry all the way over to Dublin, Ireland. And so we didn't get the chance to really sink our teeth into the area much. But the first day I was just excited to get out, and so I was talking to everybody on the buses and the ferries and all along the way, trying to talk to every person I could about the gospel, and it was great. It's this weird, nervous, but excited feeling of just, let's go, let's do something. Let's stop talking about it, let's do it.